Welcome to the Mayor's Show. As always, and I always start out by saying we always have important things to talk about on the show, and certainly today is a very important one here in Bensalem, is Libertae. And I'm sure a lot of you know where Libertae at Bensalem Boulevard, been here for many years, and has done so much in the community to help a lot of young ladies get through all kind of problems. We're going to talk about those things today and how they exist and how they need to continue to exist, and how we all can help in Bensalem here to keep Libertae as viable as they are. And I'm going to start out, Therese Dougherty. She says she could call her Terry. Her name is Therese. But Terry, why don't you start out and give a little history of Libertae?
Sure. Well, we've been in the area since 1973. We were formed due to the expansive need for treatment, especially for women. One of the things with our program is that we do gender-informed treatment, which focuses on women and their families in recovery. That's our mission, to empower the women to be able to live healthy lives through our many treatment programs that we offer.
I want to interrupt you for a second. You're the Director of Development.
Yes, I'm
correct?
in charge of development,
Okay.
yes. All the women that are at our facility are low income, so we get the insurance stipulation for their treatment, but we try to provide numerous other programs to allow them to live a normal, healthy lifestyle. So that's part of my job, is to try to come up with the funding to support those types of programs.
And we're going to expand on the funding part a little bit later. We'll talk about that. But I remember the history of Libertae when it started here, and the growth. I started with the house and was built on, and different things over the years.
It started out on actually the property of Living Green.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely,
and expanded, so it continues to grow.
And continues to do
right. We now have 4 buildings, and we house about 62 women.
Yeah, I remember when it was just a one small. I don't think it was more than 8 or 9.
Right. The old farmhouse.
Yeah, the old farmhouse. And to my left, and to the audience is right out there, is Lorna Napolitano. Did I say it right?
You got it.
Napolitano. And Lorna is the outpatient manager and outreach coordinator at Libertae.
That is correct.
So I know you say it's a long title, but why don't you tell us a little about what you do there, Lorna?
So I do a little bit of everything, truth be told. So I stepped into the position about a year ago, really to grow our outpatient. So at the time, we had roughly about 25 clients, because people were not introduced to the fact that Libertae had an outpatient program, because this is so new. They're so familiar with the fact that we are residential, so they always associate Libertae with just being residential. So Nancy Wolf, our CEO, came up with a great idea, which was to have me going out and kind of like representing Libertae and explaining what the outpatient was, which is kind of cool, because what we do is we really like to address the barriers that women in this community and trying to, establish sobriety have trouble with. Transportation, childcare. We'd like to call it our Wellness and Recovery Center, because we offer a holistic approach. The holistic approach is we offer yoga, a lot of different techniques with treatment, and it's an easy way for the women of our community.
As an outpatient?
Yep, outpatient.
Well, how do you do that? Explain that to me.
So outpatient. So what we do is we offer 2 different times. So we have morning outpatient. They come in from 10 to 12:15. It's like a 2-hour, 15-minute interval, and then they meet with the therapist. They go over different topics, such as healthy recovery coping skills, healthy eating, ways to stay sober. They look at, the other dynamics in your life.
Does that interact with the patients that are there, or is that separate?
So no, we keep it separate.
Okay.
Mainly because we want the women who are in the residential program to kind of stick to what they're supposed to be doing, which is a more structured environment, and the outpatient women are living in either recovery houses or their own homes, and then they come in, they engage in our services, and then they return to their everyday life.
Now, on an outpatient, for our audience, if somebody has that some kind of problem, how do they get involved with that as an outpatient? What do they do?
So what they'll do is they'll reach out to Libertae. We have cut out the fact that they need to have like an assessment. So they'll call us, and then they'll set up an interview with us. They'll do an intake appointment, and then after that they'll meet with the therapist. They'll go through, the therapist will assess their level of care, and then they'll be determined whether they need intensive outpatient or whether they need general outpatient. So if they need general outpatient, that typically looks like 4 days a week, roughly between 6 to 9 hours of care. If it's general outpatient, it's typically between 3 to 6 hours a week, which is usually a group on Monday night, and then they'll do individual sessions with their therapist. And then throughout like a 16-week process, they'll be reassessed to determine if they still, need the intensive outpatient services or if we can move them up.
Oh, yeah, I didn't realize that the outpatient was so big there, and how important that is. Now I'm realizing it. I mean, goodness, people gives opportunities for.
It's a
people.
huge thing because you think about it. When a woman who is struggling with staying sober has to now focus on work, and raising children, reunifying with their families, the community, they're trying to find balance in their life, and that offers them the balance because they're still able, to have an outlet of all the things that they're struggling with in their life, and then we help them to determine healthy coping skills, like what do they need next. And we have amazing, amazing case managers who sit down with them to go through any legal issues, any medical issues, and they sit down, they guide them, they'll work with them as much as they need. We pride ourselves on the fact that we are able to cut through all of these things.
I don't know how many people realize called stress or whatever is on these young ladies that, my goodness gracious, besides having an addiction, maybe problem, a child, working, all these things have to come together.
Yeah, we have about 90% of our women also have mental illness, whether it be bipolar, anxiety disorder, and obviously we know in this country that's not something that's addressed. So for us, a lot of these women have multiple issues that they're dealing with, some of them trauma from relationships and so forth. So because we are gender specific, we are able to focus on these treatment plans so that we can hopefully get these women back on their feet.
Do you notice a decline in needing this kind of help, or do you see it?
Oh no, it's getting larger and larger.
It's
with the
right?
amount of opioid use in this country, it's getting bigger and bigger, and it really affects everyone from every different background.
I'm the first one, the municipality, to sue the pharmaceuticals in the country.
Yes, I do know that.
We're the first ones
Yes.
to do it. I came out of it. Our case starts next year in 2020.
Right,
so
right.
It takes a
I
lot
read
of
that.
time,
Oh yeah, no, it
to
definitely
get on
does.
there. But my goodness gracious, the epidemic of this is causing these kind of problems.
Yes, and that's the thing.
And it's women who are, their daughters, their mothers, they're people that you see every single day in every walk of life. Like addiction is not discriminating anymore.
Oh my
so
God, no.
it's hitting our communities left and right, and it's growing nonstop.
One of the hardest things here for me is when the director calls me down from the police department, another OD, and breaks your heart.
It does. It does,
It breaks your heart that this thing is so out of control. But anyway, the good news is there is help.
Right.
That's the good news, and it does help. People are back. You put them back in society.
we try to
They're
work
back
with them
their
to get
children.
jobs.
The most important thing in this thing is the children.
And we work really closely with all of the different programs that are out there that go from the DAs. I believe it's called the DCCP. It's a new program that they came up with. And then we work with CYS, Children Youth Services, really closely in developing relationships with them so that any and all cases that they come in contact with, they're sending over direct referrals to Libertae so that we're able to coincide with them, to come up with a treatment plan that is going to be the most beneficial for the women. So.
And I guess with the Director of Development, I guess some fundraising comes under that?
Fundraising, grant writing.
So why don't you tell us, well, let's start with the fundraising.
First off, we do offer so many programs for the women that are not covered financially. So my job is to try to go out and find funding for some of these programs. We work with organizations like Special Equestrians, People in Stories, and they're all programs that directly help the women in different ways that we can't offer ourselves. So we have to find funding for those. We recently were recipients of a grant from Independence Blue Cross to stop opioid use, and that money's going to go towards expanding our outpatient programming.
That's your end.
That's my end.
As Lauren already said, we offer a program called Transformational Yoga, and it's basically recovery yoga where it allows them to focus on themselves and their problems and sort of like, how do you handle stress?
Well,
you know?
these are the things that you use the funding for, but tell
Right.
me how we're getting funding.
Well,
What are
we
doing?
have our big fashion fundraiser, which is October 24th, through the support of Parks Casino. We have a fashion show, which is our big event every year. We'd welcome everyone to come out and purchase a ticket
Even
for
I
that.
show up for that.
Even the
guys.
mayor shows up for the fashion show.
Coming out.
And we have Bensalem Rotary. They support the fashion show as well by providing young assistants to help the fashion models. We go out and we get items to auction off so that we can, add to the money that we're raising for the cause. And so far, we've been fairly successful with that event, and each year it grows and grows. So again, that's one of
Where's
our
it
big
at?
events.
Where's it gonna
This
be?
year it's at Parks East. That's where it was last year. We provide dinner, and then we have the raffle, and we have the fashion show, and it's really a nice night out. And we get a lot of attendees from the Bensalem surrounding community. So come out, support us. And
What's the date?
it's October 24th.
October 24th.
It's a Thursday
At Parks
at
East.
Parks East,
What time?
5:30.
5:30.
Runs like 5:30 to 9 approximately.
Yes.
And it
that's-
allows you to dress up, come out, mingle with your friends.
Okay, and are you two models? I would suppose.
Still be models. Let's put it
Right, we're gonna hire them. We're gonna let them do the work for us.
Oh, okay. Well,
However, we will be there in full force, encouraging people to donate money and, to put it to good use.
so anyway, another important thing is the transportation and the child care.
That's correct. So Libertae has decided to be really supportive in cutting out challenges and barriers that the women face as far as getting to and from their appointments. So what we do is we were granted a 15-passenger van to the outpatient, which allows for us to pick the women up from their homes, bring them to IOP services, doctor's appointments, case management appointments, and then return them back to their homes. We're also able to transport the children as long as it is approved by the necessary people.
So it's very, very important. The outpatient is a wonderful program because it gives people more opportunities.
Correct.
To get help. So
We encourage anybody, if you know anybody who's struggling with this, or if you're struggling yourself, to please contact us. We're definitely here for your support and to help you get the necessary help that you need.
And even if they're not meant for our facility, we can certainly recommend them to another facility that would be able to treat them. Obviously, we're gender specific, and we work with women, and we have pregnant women, we have women with young children. Our residential facility allows the moms to be with their children, so they live there with us. We have a Keystone certified daycare center where the women have their children while they're receiving treatment.
Right.
So that's for residential and outpatient. So it really helps for the moms to know their kids are being watched and being watched by someone they trust.
Right.
okay, Therese, thank you. Therese, Terry, Dougherty, thank you very much. We'll get those names. So give them all to you. Mom
me all,
named it,
yeah.
12 names
Lorna,
off
I'll give you the
cross.
last word.
Last word. So Libertae thanks you guys, and we really, really hope that our community can kind of utilize our services because it's a great program.
Well, everybody, you saw the show, people need help, please contact Libertae. Please support them in any way you can, and they have a fundraiser coming up, and if you can in October, please attend that. You'll have a good time, actually. It's a great show, and I'll see if I can talk these two young ladies into being the models that walk out and show. But until next time, everybody, God bless.